Alrighty, it is 6 o'clock. We will go ahead and call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Pasco?
Here.
Delahood?
Here.
Jesperson?
Here.
Nielsen?
Here.
Stark?
Here. 1B, Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Acknowledgement of the Open Meetings Act poster is posted on the wall by the south entrance. 1D, adoption of the agenda.
So moved to adopt the agenda. Sorry.
Any discussion? Call for a vote, please.
Motion carried 4-0.
1E, approval of consent agenda items.
I move to approve the consent agenda. Second.
Any discussion? Call for a vote, please.
Motion carried 4-0.
1F, proclamations and presentations. 1FI, presentation of fire and emergency service provider awards to Waverly Fire and Rescue members. We have a Jameson. Should have asked how to say this first. Batistella.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh my gosh, great. Okay, so in late 2024, Jameson Batistella, a 3-year volunteer member of Waverly Fire and Rescue, earned her Fire and Emergency Services Instructor 1 certification from the Nebraska State Fire Marshal Training Division. 32 course hours and additional self-study hours were put into her efforts to successfully complete the class and earn her certification that meets the requirements established by the National Board on Fire Service Professional Qualifications and International Fire Services Accreditation Congress. All right.
Official photo. Who's taking the photo?
I got the.
We will.
Yeah. All right.
Congratulations.
It's going
I
viral.
want to go through.
You want to go in front of the flag?
Yes.
All
So
right.
you gotta get out of the way of the flag. Cockerill, get out of there.
There you are.
Good. I got 2.
Congratulations.
I appreciate
And
it.
thank you for all your help. All right, then we will go to a proclamation declaring May 18th through the 24th EMS week. Give me 1 second. EMS week proclamation to designate the week of May 18th through the 24th, 2025 as Emergency Medical Services Week. Whereas emergency medical services is a vital public service. And whereas the members of emergency medical services teams are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury. And whereas emergency medical services has grown to fill a gap by providing important out-of-hospital care, including preventative medicine, follow-up care, and access to telemedicine. And whereas the emergency medical services system consists of first responders, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, emergency medical dispatchers, firefighters, police officers, educators, administrators, pre-hospital nurses, emergency nurses, emergency physicians, trained members of the public, and other out-of-hospital medical care providers. And whereas the members of emergency medical services teams, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills. And whereas it's appropriate to recognize the value and the accomplishment of emergency medical services providers by designating Emergency Medical Services Week. Now, therefore, I, Abigail Pasco, Mayor, City of Waverly, Nebraska, in recognition of this event, do hereby proclaim the week of May 18th, 2025, 18th through 2025 as Emergency Medical Services Week with the theme, We Care for Everyone. I encourage the community to observe this week with the appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities.
It was a mouthful.
And we have so many in this room today. We have one on our council as well. And we have so many of you. We have Jameson that we just recognized. What? Yeah. Yes, I would love you all to stand up, actually. That would be great to recognize. This is going to go on YouTube, so definitely want to recognize you all. Jason, we missed you. You are also.
Gosh, hey, how are you?
Thank you. You guys provide countless hours to serving our community and our surrounding community. On top of that, you provide, or you are training, you are down there until late on Monday nights, every Monday night, working, cleaning, getting things ready to go in those, for those times of need. And we thank you. We thank you for everything you do for us, for our community. I don't know if anyone saw this, but they are actively fundraising again for, not again, they're actively fundraising for something new, a firebox that they will be doing training for. Ryan, would you like to say anything about that or anything else?
So the firebox is kind of twofold. We always see a little bit. So the primary thing is to learn how fire bills from door to door, but we can also use it as a public education aspect from that of why we kind of preach shut your doors. There is a difference if you shut your doors in a fire. When we get enough money to fundraise for this, and when we do open houses or other places, we can kind of showcase that to the public, as well as train on our thermal imagers, learn kind of just behavior of fire without actually having a large structure to go through.
Perfect. Thank you. I think it's on their Facebook page. I know it's on the city's Facebook page. You can go look at what that device is. There's also a link to donate. If you want to donate, you can drop a check off to the city. You can give Ryan, Chief Mueller a check. You can, there's many avenues to donate to help with this cause as well. So thank you all for all of the great work you guys do day in and day out. We greatly appreciate it. Okay. All right, 2. Amendments to the comprehensive plan for Waverly, Nebraska, to a public hearing. Amendments to comprehensive plan for Waverly, Nebraska. We will open that at 6:08.
Mike, do you want to share what we're amending?
What we did add.
Yes.
So, basically we added the West Redevelopment Plan and the housing study. I think the original one had a kind of compressed housing study in it. It was maybe 10 pages, so I just figured we'd add about 100 more pages to it, the entire study. And then, so we removed the compressed portion and added the entire portion of that housing study. That was essentially it. So,
Just want everybody to know what we did. Anybody else?
Is there anyone that would like to
Any other comments?
comment on the public hearing for the amendment to the comprehensive plan? All right, we will close it at 6:09. To be consideration of resolution 2508.
I move that we approve the resolution 2508, amending the comprehensive plan for Waverly, Nebraska. Sorry.
Any discussion? Call for a vote, please.
Motion carried 4-0.
3, Anderson North Park 10th edition. 3A, public hearing on an Anderson North Park 10th edition final plat. We will open that public hearing at 6:10. Hi.
Hello. It's me, Emma.
Okay, great. Can you state your name and your address, please?
Lizzie Potter, 601 P Street in Lincoln. I'm from Olssen.
Yes.
So, sorry, let me sign this in quick.
Yeah, you're fine.
So this next addition at Anderson North Park is 18 single-family lots along North 147th Street in St. Ronan. It will have standard pavement, water, sewer. This one's a little different because we are doing the street crossing all the way to 148th Street. And we put language in the subdivision agreement to give us a year to finalize the connection to 148th Street because we have other drainage analysis to do, geotechnical work, and we want to get dirt moving and lots going in before that crossing is done. We're still required to be done within the 2 years, like every, all the other infrastructure in the subdivision. We're just delaying that design process. So I actually included this guy. And it just shows you what all we're planning on doing with the St. Ronan connection. Adding in a box culvert, the storm sewer, the pond. And I'm here to answer any questions that you guys have over it or anything else in the addition.
So
Are you guys gonna have another link over there? In this one?
We're planning on it. That's what the big pond, that's what the blue is on the
Yeah.
side. Yeah, it'll be in theory fairly deep. I mean, we need a lot of dirt out there still. Just for these 18 lots, not including St. Ronan, we need 40,000 yards of dirt. And our stockpile out there just isn't enough. So yeah, we're looking at digging another pond. And we're still finalizing with Julie what that exactly looks like.
Has there been a traffic study done? Or is there going to be one about connecting over to 48?
I do not think we've done one in the past and we are not planning on doing one.
Will that street match up with anything on the other side of 148th, or where does that line up?
It matches up with one of the Miller lumber entrances.
Mhm.
Yes. Try to minimize any potential, confusion and accidents there with everyone turning in and out.
It lines up with the main entrance for them that they use the most.
I guess if you want me to, there's a few things I guess I can say about it.
Yeah.
If you look at the map here, they did, I think Lizzie did a pretty good job of noting all the elements that are going on in this development here. But some of this stuff along 148th Street, they did show a proposed 27-foot right-of-way dedication for future expansion of 148th Street in case improvements are to be done there. That does give us a good buffer, I guess, for between the existing street and the proposed pond. Sidewalk from the neighborhood, we're only going to take it on one side of the street on the north side, which is the opposite side of the pond, out to the 148th Street right away there. Like Lizzie mentioned before, there's still some engineering, some drainage analysis and soil analysis that needs to happen out there for the drainage of this. And I think, as she mentioned, we're giving them kind of an extra year buffer in the subdivision agreement to get that done, but it will go through the same review process that all the construction documents go through before we approve the subdivisions. So that'll need to get done. There'll obviously need to be another. It's in a floodplain, so we need another floodplain development permit to be approved. So there's still some things going on, but per the subdivision agreement, it still needs to be done within that 2-year construction window for the entire plat that's being approved here. So the street, the right of way for St. Ronan Street is included in this plat, so.
With it being deeper, will the banks be much deeper as well, or will they be similar to the other retention ponds that are?
They'll be similar to the one we did on the other corner of the development. We'll keep it not as steep on the first go around, and then it gets steeper as we go down. And it probably won't be as deep as we're showing here. It depends when they hit groundwater and how much dirt they're actually able to get out of there. That's useful.
The pond is gonna be a responsibility of the HOA like the other ones, or?
Yeah.
This trail that's put in here, is that gonna be built by the builder?
That is built by, I believe, the city.
I think when we did this, I wasn't here when we first did the development, but it was requested by the city that the trail easement be put in there, but it was not put on the responsibility of the developer at that time to build the trail. So the easement is there on the plat. It can be located by survey at any point to make sure that it's not being intruded on, but
So after you got the money for the dog park.
yeah.
The upsize, we are paying to upsize the water main that goes along the north edge of this and down on the east side a little bit to make sure that we have a 10-inch water main loop around the city. So the city does pay the cost difference to upsize it from what it's required to be just for the development itself.
Any other questions?
Thanks, Lou.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Lindsay. Is there any comments from anyone in the audience? Okay, we will close the public hearing at 6:17. 3B, consideration of extension of effective period of the Anderson North Park preliminary plat to May 1st, 2030.
I move that we extend the effective period for the Anderson North Park preliminary plat to May 1st, 2030.
Discussion? Call for a vote?
Motion carried 4-0.
3C, consideration of resolution 2510 approving Anderson North Park 10th edition final plat.
I move to approve the resolution 2510 approving Anderson North Park 10th edition final.
Second.
Any discussion? Call for a vote, please.
Motion carried 4-0.
3D, consideration of subdivision agreement with Aspen Builders for the Anderson North Park 10th edition.
I move that we approve the subdivision agreement with Aspen Builders for the Anderson North Park 10th edition.
Any discussion? Call for a vote.
Motion carried 4-0.
3E, consideration of an agreement with Olssen for construction observation services.
I move that we approve an agreement with Olssen for construction observation services for the Anderson North Park 10th edition in the amount not to exceed $34,980.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, call for a vote, please.
Motion carried 4-0.
Okay, 3F, public hearing, annexation of Anderson North Park 10th edition. We will open that at 6:19.
Mike, what's all this include?
Do you want to pull it up, Steph?
Or staff? What's all this include? What all?
It's this. That.
So
what we're looking
where the
Yeah,
dark
very
outline is, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say yes, it complies with the preliminary plat that was just, that we we just allowed an extension on. The only difference is the shifting of St. Ronan Street to the north to line up with the driveway on the opposite side of 148th Street. And that was per the request of the city.
Just here it shows that it goes straight out, and we asked them to line it up with the main driveway at Miller Lumber.
So yes, there's typically a 5-year period for allowance on on any preliminary plat. So the council can extend that that allowable period per vote. So.
And this just starts the annexation process. So it will be part of the city limits.
I was actually surprised that we didn't write it down.
No. Yeah, there's not much left.
Land there.
Slowly.
Any other discussion? Oh, wait, no, we're hearing. Any other comments? All right, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing at 6:21. All right, 3G, consideration of the first reading of ordinance 2405.
I move to approve first reading of ordinance 2405 to annex Anderson North Park 10.
Second.
Ordinance 2405, an ordinance of the city of Waverly, annex Anderson North Park 10th edition, attracted like composed of blocks 1 through 9, block 1, lots 1 through 6, block 2, lots 1 and 2, block 3, lot 1, block 4, and that portion of North 147th Street right of way, and that portion of St. Ronan Street right of way, all located in Anderson North Park 10th edition, all located in the northeast quarter of section 16, township 11 north, range 8 east of the 6th principal meridian, Lancaster County, Nebraska.
Any discussion? All right, call for a vote, please.
Motion carried 4-0.
All right, 4, rezoning properties generally located along the US-Hwy 6. 4A, public hearing, rezoning a portion of property from limited industrial district and community commercial district to general commercial district, for a portion of property generally located along US-Hwy 6 from Deer Park Road to I-80 exit 409. We will open that public hearing at 6:23. Is there anyone here from the public who would like to comment on this rezoning?
And is this including the sub parts B through E?
Yep,
Yeah.
all of it.
Well, I will.
All right.
Good afternoon, good evening. My name's Rob Ott, 129 North 10th Street, Lincoln, Suite 313. I represent U.S. Property and the owner of this particular piece of property, property investors, and essentially Monte Freuhlich. Monte has owned this piece of property through this LLC for 23 years. I was hired as general counsel or part-time general counsel with the firm almost 3 years ago, and my first instruction was go see the nice folks at Waverly and see what we can do with that property out there. And since that time, we've had innumerable discussions with everybody. We have looked at lots of options on this property, and it's not been developed, and it's not been for lack of trying, quite frankly. We are really reticent to take an adverse position to any of this, partly because we're hoping that you consider our site for some of the things that the municipality is looking at in the future. We hope to sell you some dirt for the fire station. We have a new permit at 70th and Arbor Road, which is just around the corner from you, that allows us to mine over 200,000 cubic yards of dirt from a site that we're preparing for some other development. So again, we're reticent to object to any of this. Having said that, we know that there's been, and I know there's been a lot of work done planning And I don't want to throw stones at that, but I want to say the notice that we got for the planning commission meeting last night was the first real indication that we got that there was going to be actually a change of zone as opposed to just comprehensive planning. And so we went to work and looked at that. And I would say, I think you got a letter from us, and I think signed by Mr. Clausen, Dave Clausen, who is here with me as general counsel. We do mostly commercial and industrial space. We have about 2 million square feet of commercial and industrial space in any number of different states. We know that use really well. And in fact, one of the things that we've been working on, quite frankly, is some industrial uses. I'm gonna pass this around if you don't mind asking it to be part of the record. So this was a proposal done by Riga Engineering showing some commercial uses on this space. You know, when people think of commercial space like this, or light industrial or industrial space, they think of pretty ugly buildings. Anymore, that has really changed. Some of the buildings that you see in the commercial space like this and the industrial space like this really are attractive and quite frankly an amenity to the neighborhood. So this is what we do, is this kind of industrial space. One of the things that has slowed us down until now has been the lack of dirt resources. We've solved that problem and can do that. I would also say, just regarding industrial space, one of the things that industrial space does for a community is add jobs, and generally good paying jobs. So to the extent that you're looking at adding families to Waverly, adding jobs to Waverly, industrial space actually is at a premium. I would also say in Lincoln, Nebraska, because we have our finger on the pulse a little bit, you can't find any industrial space that's larger than about 10,000 square feet. Meaning, if you had industrial space here, one of those buildings I think is, I didn't bring my cheaters, but I think one of those buildings is 60 or 70,000 square feet. We think that would be a real amenity to Waverly, to the extent that we could develop that there. So, you know, again, I don't want you to think that industrial space is all just terrible looking stuff, because a lot of it's really well done. This wouldn't be a building like Garner Industries or anything like that, but you've got to admit some of that industrial space that's out here really is looking pretty good. One of our concerns was, and I'll pass around, Dave Clausen did this chart, and it shows, and I tried to make it, or we tried to make it easy to read with the LI and the GC zoning. What I would say we, as the owner of this property, gains if this goes through, what we lose if this goes through, and some of the changes. As you can see, what we lose is some light industry and general industry. That's exactly what we do, and that's what our sweet spot is. And for you to just cast that aside, I think I'll use the word downzoning. We think that if this set of ordinances pass, that downzones our property, that it's an inverse condemnation. Again, I'm not going to bang my shoe on the table. I'll let Mark do that at some point in time. But we think that this is, you know, an improper use of the planning and zoning process. Inverse condemnation. I mean, again, Mark's old enough to know that those can be long and drug out affairs. We don't want to do that. What we're really looking for maybe is a little breathing room. My request, and actually I talked to Will and Robert Scott. I thought maybe one of them would show up tonight, but they said to me there's no reason to rush this. That there are some of the definitions of some of these things, light industry, general industry, and some of those other definitions that might need some fine tuning. So what my request really is, first, that you table this for a period of time and let us have an opportunity to discuss kind of what our needs are, what this might look like for Waverly, and what definitions that there might be. We just were within 10 days of really first getting hit with this. We weren't invited to any of the planning meetings. We weren't invited to any of the zoning conversations that went on until we got the certified letter saying, show up. Which I did a half an hour late last night because there was a typographical error, and the hearing started at 5:30, and I showed up at about 10 to 6 in my, according to the notice that we were given. Having said all of that, my hope is that rather than vote on this in the next week or two, that maybe you tap the brakes a little bit. That'd be endorsed by the Scott brothers, and that we have a chance to sit down and say, okay, what does this really look like? What are your needs really here? I said last night, I've talked to 3 convenience stores. Stephanie provided me one. I reached out to the other 2 that I've talked to 2 hotels. I've talked to other users, and just quite frankly, can't find anybody that's very excited. I talked to Casey's. They didn't even have an interest in coming to town to look at maybe upgrading their facility. I've talked to a couple restaurants, and again, there runs a strip that's out there. It's really pretty nicely done, but there's just not a lot of appetite right now. I would say also that if you look at the property that's behind our property, which is where Bauer has their yard, that's not going to change. My understanding is that they've leased that to Allo, and that Allo is going to take over that kind of same operation. So again, I'm hoping not to sound too negative. What I'm hoping for is that maybe we tap the brakes a little bit. I know that at least my understanding was that you weren't going to vote tonight, which does allow a little bit of conversation room. But I'm thinking that over the course of time, it might be wise for Waverly to look at this a little bit differently, especially in light of how beneficial a nice-looking industrial building on this strip might work. We've also had conversation with the Bauer owner and talked about extending that street. I don't have my glasses on. I'm sorry, but there's a street that goes right through the Bauer property.
It's 135th Street.
Okay, that's it. And talk to them about severing their property a little bit and then running that back over to Highway 6. All of you don't know, some of you do. We have an agreement with the state that Monte bought 20 years ago from the state, a full access turn at the middle of our property, essentially. So the idea that we could go through the Bauer property and swing that up to to Highway 6 makes a big difference. But it just takes time to do that. And again, we're only 10 days into it. You've been doing it a lot longer than us. So I'm going to be quiet. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Well, must have made a pretty clear presentation. All right. Well, thank you for your time. I do appreciate your efforts. I know what it takes to plan like this and how difficult that is, and then to have somebody stand up and say, gee, will you tap the brakes a little bit? But again, we're just so fresh into it. We haven't even had a chance to take a very hard look at it. So again, thank you very much. Yes?
Yeah, I think I'll give you a chance to respond to a thought that I have. You say you're only 10 days into this, but you've owned it for 20 years.
For sure.
So you're 20 years into this, and we're about to,
Yeah.
a month into the change.
No, that's fair.
Yeah, so what's your reaction?
It would be fair to say, hey, listen, you should pay attention better to when we're talking about comprehensive plans and zonings and all that kind of stuff. I agree a little bit. But, as an owner on that property, we didn't ever get a notice that said, hey, come talk with us about this. We're having a forum, or we're, you know, and I know there's a lot of work goes into this, but a lot of times that's not public facing work. You know, a lot of times all of a sudden it appears, as it did on our desk the day after I'd been gone on vacation for a week. So then you start scrambling around saying, wait, what happened here? You know that stuff is going on. You don't know the particulars until it really kind of hits you in the face.
So I think one of the things that we're looking at with this, I'm looking at it, in my opinion at least, don't speak for anybody else, is that it could be a strategy in changing this to general commercial to try to get some movement, try to get some development made. I think the concern is if we take a pause here and we pump the brakes, as you say, that it's been 20 years with no development. Could it be 20 more years with no development? And I know you said that you had some conversations, you've had some planning and stuff like that. But similar to what you're saying, you're just seeing some of this right before we're trying to make these changes. We haven't seen, I don't think, at least this council, I don't know that has seen the promises, the ideas, the proposals made to have development.
I agree. I mean, Monte said it's not for lack of trying. We have poked a lot of different places. What I'd say to that is, what you want to be, in my opinion, is have all your doors open as opposed to having a bunch of doors closed. And the more you can have open doors, the more you'll have people come and look and do something different. If Monte built a 50,000 square foot light industrial building here and filled it up all of a sudden, and that had a number of employees in it, that might drive a convenience store, or that might drive a bank, or some other uses. The modern industrial facilities like General really are good looking. I mean, we've got those in Lincoln that are right next to residential neighborhoods. It isn't just a tin building that goes up with a sloped roof and gutters that leak all the time. My thinking for Waverly would be, industrial buildings bring people, and they bring jobs, and they bring other things. And maybe if there was a little light industrial here or something like that along the strip, tastefully done, maybe it drives some other things, because you're right. It hasn't been just 20 years. I mean, it's been a long, long time. And to change the character of this is difficult.
So that's my concern, I guess. Giving extra time is 20 years with nothing built. What does extra time mean? Because if he's operating on, well, I've only had it for 20 years. In my mind, you've had it for 20 years.
Yeah.
And so it's a different perspective. So when you say give us a little more time, my little more time might be, well, maybe I'll give you a little more time if I had an idea that something was coming, versus your little more time is, well, I've had it 25 years is just a little more time. 6,
like I said, my charge was to figure out something to do here. We have really worked hard to try to figure out something here. And I would say it's just been within the last month that we've got the mining permit from 70th and Arbor Road. And prior to this time, dirt was really a problem. I mean, I've talked to Bob Benish and everybody else in the area about finding some dirt to bring this site up. It's really hard on this side of Lincoln to bring up dirt because of the water in the area. But now we have all that literally right around the corner. And so that again pulled up the chart that I gave you, or the little site plan that I gave you for an industrial building. I can't promise anything. I just hate to have you close the door within the next 2 or 3 or 4 weeks and then say, gee, I wish we could have built a little bit something else out there, or had more discussions. And
Well,
I'm available. So's David.
I think, we've had a lot of discussions about this, and you have said that you didn't feel invited to the table, but I pulled up our plan, our 10-year plan that was started in 22 and finalized in 23. And it's it's that picture. So that brought together a lot of community members. There was a lot of surveys that went out. There was a lot of public gatherings for that. And that was what was decided by the community members, that they wanted to see on the 10-year comprehensive plan, and that's been out there for the last 2 years now. So it's kind of like saying that you didn't know about it.
Yeah, that's fair.
And there has been, like I said, there has been a lot of discussion in the community, and, you know, this was what people were asking for when that was made
Yeah.
2 years ago.
And there's, without dicing it too finely, there's a little bit difference between changing the comprehensive plan, which is an overall theory, and changing the zone on a piece of property. And so, you know, again, you know, partly well, that's not for me, but that's fair.
Yeah.
You know, that's fair.
There has been a lot of discussion. So I
there's
just want to
been
make
some-
that clear.
Yeah, we did never come, maybe we should have, we didn't ever get notice of anything, maybe that could have happened. We've had lots of discussions with city people and nobody's ever said, hey, you know, your change of zone's coming down the pipe. Again, I don't want to assign fault except personally that I should have paid more attention. Maybe. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is our decision. Oh, I did want to say, so I was speaking really about item 4C, I believe.
But we can have your comments be reflective of all those agenda items under the public.
I would like that, and I'm gonna add just one more thing that's maybe more just a legal fine point, which is we got a notice, certified mail, that was incorrect. And had we come to the planning commission meeting, we would have objected to all of those and didn't get a chance to do that.
You did come to the planning commission meeting.
Yeah, but we talked about this earlier
Yeah.
today, that his comments were on particular one item, but you wanted those comments to be reflective of all those items on the agenda.
Exactly.
The same as for this meeting.
So had I showed up at the right time, I would have had my comments reflected of all of those as opposed to just opening the comment period for the one piece of property that we own. So, thank you with that.
I'm Andrew Cockerill, 11021 North Lockwood. This has been in the works for a long time. I think it's a great idea. I'm gonna keep it pretty short. That property's been there 20 years. It's sitting low. Dirt's been for sale for 23 years. We can find dirt. There's dirt around. I think what you're doing with the highway there, it hides some of the industrial. I'm not really sure. Industrial can look nice, but with what you're doing on the highway corridor, I think that's what Waverly's gonna need going forward between the interstate and the East Beltway eventually coming in and all that. It'll bring more people to town having it zoned that way. So that's all I guess.
Anyone else? You guys have anything else? All right, we will close the public hearing at 6:43.
Before we get into the next items,
Yes,
next time you consider these, this would be first reading only. This is
Yes.
not final approval because there is a time requirement that
Yes.
we must adhere to, and I know you will. So
Yeah.
Final consideration, if going to normal schedule, would be at the second meeting in June.
yes. Correct. All right, 4B, consideration of the first reading of ordinance 2506.
I move to approve first reading of ordinance 2506 to rezone a portion of property from limited industrial district to general commercial district for properties generally located along US-Hwy 6 between North 120th Street and North 130th Street.
So we read the whole title. Ordinance of the City of Waverly, Nebraska, to rezone lot 11 northwest, a portion of lots 1 and 2, Morton Office Park, located in the northwest quarter of Section 29, Township 11 North, Range 8 east to the 6th Principal Meridian, Lancaster County, Nebraska, and a portion of lots 1 and 2, Morton Office Park, Lot 3, Morton Office Park, lots 1 and 2, Nebraska Crane Addition, Lot 54 Southwest, Lot 1, Wave Link Park Subdivision, Lot 48 Southwest, Lot 47 Southwest, located in the southwest quarter of the Section 20, Township 11 North, Range 8 East, the 6th Principal Meridian, Lancaster County, Nebraska, from Limited Industrial District LI to General Commercial District GC.
All right, any discussion? All right, call for a vote, please.
Motion carried 4-0.
4C, consideration of first reading of ordinance 2507.
I move to approve the first reading of ordinance 2507 to rezone a portion of property from limited industrial district and community commercial district to general commercial district for properties generally located along US-Hwy 6 to North 130th Street and Deer Park Road.
So, ordinance 2507, an ordinance of the city of Waverly, Nebraska to rezone Lot 6 Day Commercial Park, 3rd Edition, located in the southeast quarter of Section 20, Township 11 North, Range 8 East, the 6th Principal Meridian, Lancaster County, Nebraska, Lot 46 Northeast, irregular tract of Waverly, located in the northeast quarter of Section 20, Township 11 North, Range 8 East of the 6th Principal Meridian, Lancaster County, Nebraska. Lot B, administrative subdivision of Lot 1, Block 1 of Lancaster Implement Subdivision. Lot 2, Oscar Feeney Edition. Lots 1 and 2, Deer Park 4th Edition. Lot 1, Deer Park 1st Edition. Lot 1, Block 1, Schoenweiss Edition, located in the northwest quarter, Section 21, Township 11 North, Range 8 East of the 6th Principal Meridian, Lancaster County, Nebraska, from Limited Industrial District LI to General Commercial District GC, and Block 4, or Lot 4, Block 1, Deer Park Edition, located in the northwest quarter of Section 21, Township 11 North, Range 8 East of the 6th Principal Meridian, Lancaster County, Nebraska, from Community Commercial District CC to General Commercial District GC.
Any discussion? All right, call for a vote, please.
Motion carried 4-0.
All right. 4D, consideration of the first reading of ordinance 2508.
Just read the number, then I'll read it.
I move to approve first reading of ordinance 2508.
Second. Thank you very much. Ordinance 2508. An ordinance of the city of Waverly, Nebraska to rezone Lot 32 north 1/2 of Lot 35, north 1/2, and Lot 36 north 1/2, located in the east half of Section 30, Township 11 North, Range 8 East, the 6th Principal Meridian, Lancaster County, Nebraska, from Limited Industrial LI to General Commercial District GC.
Any discussion? Let's call for a vote.
Motion carried 4-0.
4E, consideration of first reading of ordinance 2509.
I move to approve first reading of ordinance 2509.
Ordinance 2509, an ordinance of the city of Waverly, Nebraska, to rezone Outlot B and lots 1, 2, and 3 of Block 2, Watermark Edition, located in the northwest corner of Section 21, Township 11 North, Range 8 East of the 6th Principal Meridian, Lancaster County, Nebraska, from Limited Industrial District LI to General Commercial District GC.
Any discussion? For a vote, please.
Motion carried 4-0.
Judge, as I told you, this will be on the next 2 meeting agendas, and obviously,
But no public hearing.
no public hearing, but you obviously, you're free to talk to the mayor and council and staff throughout that period, as is everyone else here.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you all.
Thank you. 5, Waverly Ridge Estates. 5A, consideration of the first reading of ordinance 2510.
Oh, no, I can't.
I move to approve consideration of first reading of ordinance 25.
Second.
Ordinance 2510, an ordinance of the city of Waverly, Nebraska, rezone Waverly Ridge Estates Edition A subdivision located in the west half of Section 15, Township 11 North, Range 8 East of the 6th Principal Meridian, Lancaster County, Nebraska, from Agricultural District AG to Residential R2 and R4. And now would be a good time for me to explain what's going on, Megan, is that correct? So due to a Scrivener's error, simply there's a wrong property description was given to us by slightly, although the boundaries don't change. We're redoing this. I'd recommend that you don't waive the 3 readings on this, but at the end of the day, there's no material change to the action that previously occurred by this council. So I would prefer, because when we get to the next one, which is an annexation ordinance, we do have to go through the 3 readings.
All right, so
Any
just go,
concerns with that, doing that?
No.
Okay.
so just go through all 3 with both of them?
Yep.
Okay.
So no material change from action this council has already taken.
Okay, any discussion? Great, call for a vote, please.
Motion carried 4-0.
5B, consideration of the first reading ordinance 2511.
I move to approve first reading of ordinance 2511.
Second. Ordinance 2511, an ordinance of the city of Waverly to annex Waverly Ridge Estates, addition A, tract of land composed of lots 1 through 8, block 1, lots 1 through 14, block 2, lots 1 through 13, block 3, lots 1 and 2, block 4, lots 1 and 2, block 5, lots 1 through 9, block 6, lots 1 through 10, block 7, lots 1 through 14, block 8, lots 1 through 9, block 9, lots 1 through 35. Block 10, lots 1 through 12, block 11, lots 1 through 4, block 12, lots 1 through 5, block 13, outlots A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H, Waverly Ridge Estates edition. A portion of Macduff Street, a portion of Warner Street, a portion of North 153rd Street, a portion of North 152nd Street, a portion of North 151st Street, a portion of 150th Street, a portion of 149th Street, a portion of Jamestown Street, and a portion of Kenilworth Street, all located in the west half of Section 15, Township 11 North, Range 8, east of the 6th Principal Meridian, Lancaster, Nebraska.
Well, okay.
Excuse me, can you read that over again?
Was it middle part?
Any discussion? All right, call for a vote, please.
Motion carried 4-0.
Sheriff's report, Deputy Brownell.
Well, good morning.
Township were you from?
Wow, nothing as riveting as that, but standard calls for service last month. If you are tracking calls for service, there have been a couple addresses that have spawned quite a bit of work for me, but it's nothing community driven. It's more personal within the households and such, in which you're trying to serve the community in that regard. Other than that, there's no anomalies. Dog calls are kind of increasing a little bit throughout the communities. So it's just people are out walking their dogs more. I'm pretty sure scanning through our ordinances, we have a leash ordinance. So I think if we can encourage our neighbors to keep our dogs on leashes, that's it's gonna eliminate, but it's surely gonna help deter dog bites, which can create a lot of problems for a lot of people, especially the dog owner, which aren't always fun. So if we can encourage licensing, vaccinations, and some of our dog regulations and rules right now, I think that's important. Outside of that, I don't have a whole lot more. Parks are getting pretty active. Fun little report last week, but we don't even get into too much of that. But I think most people have heard about it. But yeah, softball and baseball, 11-year-old baseball is a pretty serious sport out there. So we're patrolling the parks closely. So, anybody have any questions? No, it's fun getting out in the parks, talking to kids, and actually watching some of these baseball games and meeting families. And it's an opportunity to really get to know people that are outside of the community, that pour into the community, to see Waverly and be able to really network ourselves.
I got 11-year-old and 9-year-old grandson playing baseball. It is real serious.
It is. I bet they give you a run for your money.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I know.
All right, sound public comments. Is there anyone here that would like to make a comment on a non-agenda item? All right, seeing as we have none. 8, approval of the minutes. 8A is consent. 8B is consent. 9, consideration of claims and financial reports. 9A, claims for payment.
I move to approve claims for payment in the amount of $233,626.17.
Second.
Any discussion? Please call for vote.
Motion carried 4-0.
All right, treasurer's report and budget and expense report.
Move to approve the treasurer's and budget expense report.
Second.
Any discussion?
Sorry, Aaron. Motion carried 4-0.
We have no resolutions, no more ordinances. 12, introduction of business communications. 12A, consideration of a bid from Terracon for geotechnical engineer services.
I move to approve a bid from Terracon for geotechnical engineering service.
Second.
All right, Steph, you wanna?
So this first one is, for some geotech work that we're gonna have done on Cannon Gate Road. We are gonna be doing some resurfacing on Cannon Gate Road. And, we want to make sure that the subbase of the road surface is good and also how good the asphalt surface is before we go and do an overlay project. So we're going to have them take some core samples. So that's what this one is for.
So any of that road fall under county or is it all their responsibility?
So a certain amount of the approach up to Cannon Gate Road is the county's. And I think, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I know there's a portion of the approach that is the county's, and then the entire span of the bridge is the county's. But the actual road is ours. So they do some span and a bit of the approaches. And they are going to be doing some, and part of the reason why we're doing this Cannon Gate project now is because the county will be doing redoing their approaches to the surface, to the Cannon Gate overpass. So we want to co-op with them and get bid pricing with them and do the project at the same time so we don't have the overpass torn up twice. So.
Any other discussion? Call for a vote, please.
Motion carried 4-0.
12B, consideration of bid from Terracon for geotechnical engineering services.
I move to approve a bid from Terracon for geotechnical engineering.
Second.
This one, I would love to. So this one is for the proposed fire station. And so while we are continuing to work through the agreement with the Suburban Fire District, this is some work that we can get done in the meantime while we're determining the status of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some core samples from the site where the fire station will be located. And we did work with JEO to tell us the precise locations of where we're going to take these core samples. So we're going to test the soil there to see the makeup of the soil, how well it compacts. And then also we're going to take some core samples from behind the high school area. The high school has quite a bit of a stockpile of dirt back there. And we have had discussions with them and they would be agreeable to having us use that dirt. First, we need to determine whether it's good dirt to be using for compaction and to help fill in this area. So the site where the fire station will be will need a considerable amount of fill dirt to get it out of the floodplain. So that's what we're doing is we're testing that dirt behind the high school to see if it's acceptable dirt to use for fill.
Any discussion? Call for a vote, please.
Motion carried 4-0.
13 committee reports. 13A, Ms. Stark.
All right, for the fun stuff. Scott has finished trimming the trees and the brush around Wayne. The Toro mower has been in the shop for 2 weeks now, which makes it very difficult to mow the steepness of the ditch on the southwest side of Wayne Park. Scott has laid some seed on the north side of the pool, and he is watering that. Lawson 3 had electrical work done after the scoreboard electrical was damaged during the snowstorm in March and April. Davetronics came out last Friday and fixed the connections on Lawson Field 3 and 4. All scoreboards are working. And then it looks like potentially the scoreboard on Field 5 might work as well. Soccer finished on the 8th of May. Now we're into glassball and t-ball, which started May 5th. The pool is filled and the chemicals were delivered on Monday. Angela has been running trainings and cleanings with lifeguards in preparation for the season. So if you haven't bought your pool pass, you can online. Go ahead and get one of those. Working with umpires for softball and baseball, and then adults softball registration will be up by the end of this week. I'm assuming that's adult slow pitch softball.
That probably correct.
So you want to play some slow pitch softball, you can get signed up hopefully by the end of the week.
I will comment too, something new that's happening this year is that we are, at least in the first session, I know, we have scrapped the 9 a.m. session because no lifeguards or children want to get in the pool when it's that cold.
For swim lessons.
For swim lessons. And we have started a 5 p.m. swim lesson. So that's new this year. Clayton is still looking for umpires. So if anybody wants to make extra money, John Quincy Adams. If you want to make some extra money, we're looking for umpires. Just little kids baseball. Little kids baseball, you can help out. So anyways, thank you. 13B Public Works, Karen.
They have been excavating dirt and debris from Canongate Road ditch from Kenilworth Street to Oldfield Street. They installed the new dissolved oxygen and ORB probes at the wastewater treatment plant. It just sounds expensive, probably.
Not cheap.
Met with JEO Engineering and K2 about some minor changes to the Oak Lane. They sent out the ADA sidewalk ramp bid package to 9 different concrete contractors. Bids are due at the end of the month. They replaced a culvert at North 137th Street in Oldfield. They redid the well house roofing project. That was completed last week. They switched from asphalt shingles to metal roofing. Well number 5, variable frequency drive has been installed, allowing them to slow down or speed up the well. They had to slow it down since it was pumping within a few inches of the pump itself due to the lack of rainfall. So actually has not probably improved. Repaired the degritter station at the wastewater treatment plant. It was jammed up with debris.
Don't want to.
Don't want to know. The Danvers water main replacement project is 90% complete with backfill, sprinkler repairs, and seeding remaining. And the Oak Lane water main project is next, but it's not started.
Thank you. 13C, David.
Congratulations again to our folks and naming next week, but otherwise nothing to report.
Excellent. 13D,
Yeah,
Dave.
2 things.
Oh, yes.
The Waverly Economic Development Corporation met on Monday to discuss their mission statement, goals and objectives and funding opportunities. They meet again next month. Number 2, the Waverly CRA met last week to make a minor modification to the West Area wide redevelopment plan and a minor modification to the downtown area wide redevelopment plan. Discussion was held concerning potential uses of the area-wide TIF funds.
Thank you. 13E.
Not for sure you're gonna say that the Mexican restaurant's open.
It has it, right?
13E, Steph.
Beverly Dental looked like they're putting up a new sign.
Mexican restaurant has open, right?
Yeah, they did put up a new sign. I don't have a lot to share. The Waverly Ridge, Mike can correct me if I'm wrong, but Waverly Ridge, they have 98% of the sewer and 98% of the water mains in. So water and sewer is virtually done. Box culvert, I don't remember what percentage they were on boxes, but
I'd say it's between 75, 85%.
yeah. So the boxes will be done here pretty soon.
2 are complete.
And so that means streets will be next. Streets and storm sewer will be next. So they are moving fast over there. So
Do they start selling that, or do they have to wait until a certain spot before they start selling?
Oh, no, they've been
They
selling.
can sell the lots. I don't issue permits until the streets have been in place and inspected and approved.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So lots are sold, but no building permits yet.
Correct.
There's a lot of lots sold.
Really? That's great.
We got some information from Vertical Bridge on, a potential site for a communications tower. So we'll continue to work on that. We also got notification about our healthcare, for our employees. And, that was proposed. The bid that we were shown was an 18% increase in our healthcare expenses. So we've been looking at some other opportunities that we may have, and so we should have something to present to council at the next meeting.
When's Campbell or Danvers gonna be done?
Danvers, I think he said that.
90% done.
good.
Yeah,
They just have to repair some sprinklers, seed some grass.
it's all finished.
Everything except for your house.
You're the 10%.
You're the
I let Mike know the other day that I was on the city council.
Okay, 14 adjournment.
Who did you?
Call for the vote.
Motion carried 4-0, meeting adjourned at 7:05.